How do you overcome an emotional eating trigger? In fact, how do you even know if you have an emotional eating trigger? Hey friends, Doug Pedersen here, coming to you at week 7 of 52, me upholding my commitment to post something of value here on my Facebook page. Thanks for checking out the video. So today we're talking about emotional eating, and more specifically, emotional eating triggers. And if you want to know how to overcome them, it's really easy. There's 3 steps. First, you have to identify the habit. Second, you have to identify the emotion that you're trying to create or avoid with the habit. And third, you just need to have an action plan so that when the trigger is pushed, you know what to do instead of just grabbing the emotional food and eating. All right, so there it is. I can end the video, but I know what some of you are thinking. Some of you out there thinking, Doug, where are you and why are you in your pantry? I'm so glad you asked. You know, I've shown you other parts of the house, the unfinished gym, my office and stuff, and I wanted to shake it up a little bit. But I also wanted to illustrate this thing about emotional eating and emotional eating triggers so that hopefully you could implement it a little bit better. So I'm in my pantry. So anyway, so here's a quick story. About a year ago, I was training for a race called the Spartan Ultra Beast that takes place in Killington, Vermont. And it's an obstacle course race. I like to do obstacle course racing, and this was a big step for me. It's a 30-mile race. And so basically what that means is I was doing a lot of volume training, a lot of running, a lot of calisthenics, a lot of workouts, 5 days a week. And in the lead up for this training, I was eating a lot of really good solid foods, things that I've talked about, you know, in other videos. I had a lot of my nutrition dialed in. But I noticed at one point in my training cycle that I was carrying a little bit more weight than I thought I should have. Now, I'm probably the only one that could tell, that I was carrying a little bit more weight or anything else like that. But I felt like I should be, with all this training and all this exercise, all this cardio, that I should have been about 5 to 10 pounds lighter than I actually was. And I don't know what made me think of this, but I finally got to wake up to the head and realize that I had this thing, an emotional eating trigger. And this is what I would do. Many times throughout the day, at least once a day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, when I was in a certain emotional state, I would come into my pantry, kind of like this, grab this guy right here, something like that, same jar I've been eating for years, and I would take spoon after spoon, 4 or 5 spoons, drink some milk, and basically have a meal of peanut butter. And I would do this, once or twice a day. I was eating peanut butter, trying to get extra calories to compensate for the extra workouts. But I realized at some point that I was consuming one of these jars a week. Now there's 32 servings in here. And I did the math that at that point when I was just like, hey, I'm probably a little heavier or a little smoother than I should be because I'm eating a jar of peanut butter every week. And I like peanut butter. I actually love peanut butter. And I realized I would go in there and I was just going after it instead of just one, tablespoon or something like that, or putting it on bread or in my oatmeal. I was eating it as if it was a dessert, and I wanted to understand why. I wanted to understand what was going on there. And basically that's what I found, is I had one of these emotional eating triggers, and I was just on autopilot, coming into my pantry, grabbing the peanut butter, going to town, even knowing what I know now, being into fitness, having overcome child obesity, having been a binge eater, I still was a victim to this type of behavior. So I don't want you to do that. So anyway, what I did was what I'm recommending you to do. One is identify the habit. Each of us, if you're doing everything that you know how to do, and you've got your self-care as a priority, and your physical body and the things you put into it, you're paying attention to, but you're still not getting the results that you want, I challenge you to explore this idea of, do I have an emotional eating trigger? Again, even me, with all I know and all I've been through, I had one, all right? And most of us do. Most of us have something that we could eat at any time, that we really enjoy, that we could, consume any time, no matter what's going on. If you have something like that, that's where I would start, okay? For me, it was peanut butter. Another guy I know, his is chicken wings, all the sauces and everything else that add up in calories. My son, it's not so bad now, but mustard. This guy can put mustard on basically anything and eat it. For some, it could be wine. It could be anything. It could be salad, certain salad dressings. I don't know. What is it that you could love that's the one food that you could eat any time of day, no matter what? Start there. Okay? So identify the habit. Number 2 is identify the emotion that you're trying to create or that you're trying to avoid by having that habit, by eating that. For me, what I found is that when I was thinking about something, trying to create excitement or feel excitement about something for work or an idea in a workout or something for an idea of something I wanted to do with my kids that would be fun or in the family with Nuris, is that's when I would, I'd go in there for my spoonful of peanut butter, but I'd start to get into this emotional state of trying to feel something, and I would, end up with 5 or 6 of these huge, choked myself on peanut butter before. I hate to admit it, but I have, just as it's gone down. Gross, I know. But that's what you got to get to. If you don't get to the emotional state that you're trying to create or avoid, you won't know where to attack the problem. The trigger will just continue to get pushed. So once you have those 2 things, now it's about number 3. Like I've said in other videos, your real value. You're a fireman, you're a firewoman. You need to prepare like a fireman would, just like for the fire. What does a fireman do? He or she will polish the truck. They work on the gear. They go through training. They practice, and they're ready. So with the alarm rings, they know how to go fight the fire. Same things for you. I recommend the quick coherence technique, or the things that we've talked about for willpower, how you exercise your willpower either with cold turkey behavior or tapering, or you balance your thoughts. So if you start thinking about something that puts you in this state, you're looking to create or avoid an emotion, you got to change that thought pattern right away so that you can access a more empowering emotion. All right, so that's how you do it. In the next video, I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to teach you, and hopefully we'll do it together on video, this thing called the quick coherence technique, how you can access better emotions. When the alarm is triggered, how you can actually get the emotion that you want in a healthy way. All right, guys, that's my time. I hope you've enjoyed the pantry. I hope you've gotten something out of this video. Remember, the goodness that's out there, the goodness that's in me, is also the goodness that's in you. You deserve it, so you should go after it with all you've got.